September 12, 2010. Reliant Stadium, Houston. Defending AFC champion Indianapolis Colts are on the other sideline. Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, the whole operation. And the man tasked with carrying the Houston Texans offense on his back? Second-year running back who, just 12 months earlier, was on the practice squad. His name is Arian Foster. And on this day, he will rush for 231 yards and 3 touchdowns on 33 carries, putting the NFL on notice in the most dramatic season opener anyone in Houston had ever seen. But here's what you did not see. The years of doubt, the doors slammed shut, the day he was told he was not good enough to make a 53-man roster. This is Undrafted stories, roster bubble documentaries. Arian Foster was born on August 24, 1986, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. His father, Carl Foster, had been a wide receiver at the University of New Mexico. Carl actually signed with the Denver Broncos back in 1982, but was released before the season ever started. Football was in the family blood, but so was the sting of almost making it. Arian's mother, Bernadette Sizemore, got him into football at the age of 7. Even as a kid, Foster had a stubborn confidence. The story goes that when a teacher told him to have a backup plan beyond the NFL, young Arian fired back, asking why nobody was telling the kid who wanted to be a doctor to have a plan B. His parents divorced while he was in high school, and around 2002, Arian moved to San Diego to live with his father. He enrolled at Mission Bay Senior High School, where he initially played linebacker. Eventually, he transitioned to running back full-time, and it changed everything. In his senior year, Foster led all of San Diego County in all-purpose yards with 2,500, including over 2,000 rushing yards and 24 touchdowns. He also returned 6 kickoffs for scores. One game alone, he ran for 321 yards. Mission Bay would later retire his jersey number. Tennessee came calling. Offensive coordinator Randy Sanders and running backs coach Trooper Taylor were impressed enough during a San Diego recruiting trip to offer him a spot. Foster committed and became part of the Volunteers' 2004 signing class. He redshirted his first year, sitting behind Gerald Riggs Jr. and Cedric Houston on the depth chart. But over the next 3 seasons, he earned the starting job and became a 3-year starter. Here's where it gets complicated. Foster finished his college career as Tennessee's second all-time leading rusher with 2,964 yards, but he only had 1 season over 1,000 yards. There were fumbles at costly moments, and the coaching staff did not exactly sing his praises. Reports surfaced that Tennessee staffers portrayed Foster as selfish and hard to coach. His draft stock, once projected as high as the 2nd round during his sophomore year, cratered. Then came the pre-draft process, and it went from bad to worse. A pulled hamstring kept Foster from working out at the NFL Combine. When he finally ran at Tennessee's Pro Day, he posted a 40-yard dash in the mid-460s. His shuttle time, vertical leap, and broad jump were all underwhelming. Scouts had concerns about his pass blocking and ball security. Sports Illustrated ranked him 24th among running backs in the 2009 draft class. Draft weekend arrived. Round 1, nothing. Round 2, nothing. Round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All 256 picks went by. Arian Foster's name was never called. Not a single NFL team spent a draft pick on the 2nd leading rusher in University of Tennessee history. Think about that for a second. But Foster was not done. Multiple teams reached out after the draft, and he chose to sign with the Houston Texans as an undrafted free agent on resale. May 1, 2009, he believed the situation suited him, that there was a path to the field. And then, in early September, the Texans made their final roster cuts. Foster was released on September 5th. 1 day later, on September 6th, Houston signed him to the practice squad. That is the reality of the roster bubble. You go from out of the building to back in the building in 24 hours, but you are not on the team. Not really. The practice squad is a holding pattern. You show up every day, prepare the scout team, mimic whatever offense or defense the upcoming opponent runs, and you hope someone notices. You are paid a fraction of what active roster players earn. You are 1 phone call away from being cut again, and you are also 1 phone call away from being elevated. Every week is an audition with no guaranteed next episode. Foster spent over 2 months in that limbo. Week after week, he showed up, put in the work, and waited. Then, on November 17, 2009, the Texans signed Arian Foster to the active roster. His NFL journey had officially begun, for real this time. His debut came on November 23rd against the Tennessee Titans, the same program that had watched his college career up close. He played mostly on special teams that day and recorded no offensive statistics in a loss. But the opportunities started to trickle in. In Week 16, on December 27th, Foster scored his first NFL touchdown, a 17-yard run against the Miami Dolphins. Houston won that game 27-20, and then came the season finale. January 3rd, 2010. The Houston Texans versus the New England Patriots. Foster made his first career start. He carried the ball 20 times for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Texans won 34-27. In 6 games, starting just one, Foster had shown enough. 54 carries, 257 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 receptions for 93 yards. The numbers were modest, but the tape told a different story. The vision, the patience, in the zone running scheme, the burst through the hole. Something was brewing. Now, here is where the 2010 offseason sets the stage. The Texans' 2009 starting running back, Steve Slayton, had declined sharply after a strong rookie year. Houston drafted Ben Tate, but Tate went down with a preseason injury that cost him the entire 2010 season. The door did not just crack open for Arian Foster. It swung wide. The question was whether a former practice squad player, an undrafted free agent from a small recruiting profile, could handle a full NFL workload. The answer was about to shake the league. Opening day 2010. September 12th. Houston versus Indianapolis. The same Colts franchise that had dominated the Texans for years. Entering the game with a 15-1 lifetime record against Houston, what happened next was one of the most stunning single-game performances in NFL opening day history. Arian Foster took 33 carries and turned them into 231 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. He shattered the Texans' franchise record for single-game rushing yards. This was the second highest opening day rushing total in NFL history, behind only O.J. Simpson's 250 yards back in 1973. The Texans beat the Colts 34-24, and the league had a new name to reckon with. But Foster did not slow down. In Week 4, against the Oakland Raiders, he broke a 14-14 tie with a 74-yard touchdown run, the longest in Texans franchise history at the time. Houston won 31-24 behind Foster's 187 yards from scrimmage. Week after week, the production kept coming. Over 100 yards here, multiple touchdowns there. This was not a fluke opening day. This was a full season takeover. Late in the season, Kansas City's Jamal Charles briefly passed Foster in the rushing race during the Chiefs' final game. Foster responded in Week 17 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, rushing for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns to lock down the rushing title. When the numbers were tallied, Foster had finished with 1,616 rushing yards and 16 rushing touchdowns, both tops in the NFL. He added 600 for receiving yards, giving him 2,220 yards from scrimmage. That broke the record Priest Holmes had held for the most scrimmage yards ever by an undrafted player. He earned first-team All-Pro honors and his first Pro Bowl invitation. Let that sink in. 1 year earlier, he was on the practice squad. Now he was the NFL's leading rusher and one of the most dangerous offensive weapons in football, from undrafted to unstoppable in barely 12 months. The 2011 season brought challenges. Foster strained his hamstring twice during the preseason, famously tweeting an image of his own MRI, which sparked a mini controversy. He missed the season opener but returned in Week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers and ran for 155 yards, including a 42-yard fourth-quarter touchdown that sealed a 17-10 victory. He finished the regular season with 1,224 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, and 617 receiving yards. But the bigger story was this. The Houston Texans made the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. In the wild-card round against the Cincinnati Bengals, Foster rushed for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns in a dominant 31-10 victory. It was his playoff debut, and he looked like a man who had been waiting his entire life for that stage. In March 2012, the Texans rewarded Foster with a contract reportedly worth up to $43.5 million over 5 years. over $20 million guaranteed. The former undrafted free agent, the guy who had been cut and stashed on the practice squad, was now one of the highest-paid running backs in the NFL. The 2012 season confirmed his elite status. Foster rushed for 1,424 yards on 351 carries, with 15 rushing touchdowns, once again leading the league in that category. He scored a touchdown in each of the first 9 games. The Texans went 12-4, the best record in franchise history. In the playoffs, Foster added 230 rushing yards across 2 postseason games. That gave him 425 career playoff rushing yards in just 3 games, the most by any player in NFL history through his first 3 postseason appearances. He became the first player ever to record 100-plus rushing yards in each of his first 3 playoff games. Every name on the list of players who had previously strung together 3 consecutive 100-yard playoff games was a Hall of Famer. Emmitt Smith, Franco Harris, Marcus Allen, Larry Zonka, Arian Foster was in that company. He earned his 3rd straight Pro Bowl and was ranked 8th among all NFL players by his peers. Injuries began to take their toll starting in 2013. A back injury limited Foster to 8 games and just 542 rushing yards. He had surgery on a herniated disc in November of that year. But he came back in 2014 and put together another strong campaign, rushing for 1,246 yards and 8 touchdowns, with 38 receptions for 327 yards and 5 more scores through the air. It was his 4th season with over 1,000 rushing yards, earned his 4th Pro Bowl selection. Then came the devastating blow. In 2015, Foster ruptured his Achilles tendon in Week 7. He played in just 4 games that season. Texans released him in March 2016. He left Houston holding franchise. Records for career rushing yards with 6,472 and career rushing touchdowns with 54. Both records still stand. Foster signed a 1-year deal with the Miami Dolphins in July 2016, hoping for one more chapter. But the body that had carried him through so many battles could not hold up. He played in just 4 games, rushing for 55 yards, before another soft tissue injury forced a decision. On October 24, 2016, Arian Foster announced his retirement. When you look at the final numbers, Foster played 8 NFL seasons, 80 games, 6,527 career rushing yards, 54 rushing touchdowns, 255 receptions for 2,346 receiving yards, 4 Pro Bowls, first-team All-Pro, and NFL rushing title. He has the 2nd most rushing yards by any undrafted player in Super Bowl era history. But the numbers alone do not capture what Arian Foster's story means. This is a man who was cut before ever playing a regular season game, who spent months on a practice squad grinding through scout team reps, while the real games happened without him, who was handed a chance in the final weeks of his rookie year and turned it into a career that rivaled players who were picked in the 1st round. The roster bubble is where most dreams go to die. For Arian Foster, it was just the beginning. If this story reminds you that opportunity does not always arrive on schedule, hit subscribe. Undrafted Stories is where those kinds of stories live.